The change of the pole sign because they're just swapping out Kohl's and Sephora that Kevin called and said there wouldn't be a need for an additional.
Oh. Okay. They're getting rid of.
So they'll say Kohl's and Sephora.
They're changing the pole sign to
Kevin's sending a message.
add that. And they're not changing the square footage of the sign.
Heather, can you see Kevin's message?
What message? I don't see anything from him.
He's
Oh,
holding,
he's holding it up.
he's holding up part of the, we can, see it. Basically,
My bad.
okay.
It's like we've got him muted.
Oh, so they're adding it next to it.
They're just changing the sign. Instead of
Just-
just Kohl's, it's gonna be Kohl's and Sephora.
Yeah, there's a picture of it in the application.
Yeah,
It
no, I
just
remember.
doesn't say that this is the pole sign. It's just got the little E2 on it.
Oh, the pole sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's no
Yeah, yeah,
change in
yeah.
square footage. So I
Yeah.
felt that a variance, so is it gonna be needed for that?
Mhm.
Since it's already existing.
All right. And Beth, I know it's a minute early, but when you are ready to start, the floor is yours.
So wait, do we need that? Do they need the application?
For
For,
the additional pole sign? Or
well, for the third, the second wall sign. The second wall sign is what the variance is for.
But it's not a pole sign, right?
That's separate, right?
It's separate.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, but the-
wall, not a pole.
The pole sign is for the plaza. So it doesn't count towards the wall signs.
They're still looking for a second wall sign.
Right, because they're adding the Sephora to it.
Correct.
So they still need this variance. Okay, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
It's good to ask. So we're ready to go live, Heather?
Yep, all set.
Come to order. This is the April 6th Zoning Board of Appeals Town of Henrietta meeting. Start off the meeting with a couple of just minor housekeeping items. Please make sure your cell phones are silenced. Emergency exits are labeled here and here. In the event of an emergency, you need it. And we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight, we will hear the applications in order in which they were advertised. We'll do attendance. My name is Beth Mossworth. I'm Vice Chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Absent is the Chairman, Robert Peckham. John Miglerini,
Here.
Kristen Chamberlain,
Here,
Heather Robinson,
Here,
Tim Harrington,
Present.
Aaron Lehman.
Present.
All right. So we will start the meeting and the motion for the minutes of the February meeting.
Mrs. Vice Chair, I would like to motion to approve the minutes for March 2nd, 2022.
Oh, March, geez, not February. Giving it
sec-
away.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. All right, application 2022-003, Anthony Lambazy and Lauren Lippincott. Hi, come on up and to the podium. Please just state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Lauren Lippincott, 64 Planters Row, West Henrietta.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add to your application of what you've already submitted?
No.
Okay, so this is just to add to the side of your driveway. Looks like an additional 7 feet.
Yes.
To fit a third car?
Yes.
Okay, what created the situation for the parking need?
Well, it's a new build in 2021. So we moved in June. It's Orion Homes and the driveway itself is 18 and a half feet, pretty narrow and tight with even my fiance has a truck. I have an SUV. We have 4 kids. It's just too tight and our kids are getting older and we're going to definitely need additional space to have my son who will start driving in a few years to get a third car in there just for the additional space if we need it for the third car.
And this will taper down before the bottom of the entrance, so you'd stay within that.
Right, right. So we're not widening the whole driveway. It will taper off.
Any concerns about snow removal and not putting it over into the neighbor's yard?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Any concerns with snow removal and not putting it over into the neighbor's yard?
Oh, yeah, we'll make sure that we don't do that. That won't be an issue.
Does anybody have any questions?
You're not.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? Heather, is there anyone online that has questions?
I have no comments right now.
All right, being that there's no questions, this application is closed. So in regards to application ZBA 2022-003 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board of appeals has one, duly advertised and held a public hearing, has considered all relevant information, and three, has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. As additional parking space in line with other homes in the area, the variance cannot be achieved by some other alternative. The variance is not substantial. The variance will not have a negative effect on the physical or environmental condition. The difficulty was self-created, and be it further resolved that based above the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approve the variance as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Can I just confirm, was that John that seconded?
It was.
Thank you.
I said it right into it.
Did you want to change the? While he's changing the microphone cover, application 2022-004 has withdrawn at this time. Application 2022-005, Nicole Vandermeet. If you could just state your name and address for the record.
Nicole Vandermeet, 35 Skylar Parkway.
Hello. So basically you want to add a porch, not a, sorry, a porch to your front yard or for your front of your house.
I want to replace an existing porch.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, and the existing one is, I mean, is the, is the one you want to put on is larger than the one
Yes,
currently? Okay.
slightly larger, yes.
Okay, and what is it going to look like? Is it going to look similar, or I didn't see any pictures of it? So
It's going to be a covered front porch.
it'll be covered, okay,
Yes.
all right. Covered in 8 by 12 is
Yep.
the dimensions, okay. All right, and yeah, I just think it in general will be, it'll add to the curb appeal for your house, so I think it'll look
Absolutely.
nice. So there's other houses in your neighborhood that have porches like that as well, so, or
They have porches, yes.
yeah, they porches, so yeah, exactly. So I really don't have any other questions regarding this. I mean, I think it's,
Do you think the size of the porch that you have proposed, is that going to be to all your needs?
Yes.
Is it just for entry and exit?
Yes.
Not sitting, okay.
Well, there'll be enough room there for me to have 2 chairs out front, but it'll
Okay.
have a rail, so it's not gonna, it'll be kept so that it keeps the neighborhood looking nice.
just a little bit
Okay.
more space to hang out on your front porch. Yeah, exactly.
What is the porch gonna be made out of?
Probably Trex.
Okay. All right, is it gonna kind of match the house
Yes.
aesthetically? Okay. No further questions.
Does anybody in the audience wish to speak on this application? Are there any questions online?
I have no comments at this time.
Okay, with that, this application is closed.
Uh, like Miss or Madam Vice Chairman? With regard to application number ZBA 2022-005 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has, 1, duly advertised and held a public hearing, 2, has considered all relevant information, and 3, has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variances. Now therefore be resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties, as the new patio will add to the curb appeal to the applicant's house. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative, as the proposed patio cannot be built without encroaching upon the existing front setback of 60 feet. The variance requested is not substantial, as an 8-foot relief on the existing setback is less than 15% overall reduction to the front setback. The variance will not have a negative effect on physical or environmental conditions, as the new patio will be built mostly on ground that has already been disturbed by the existing gardens and walkway. That is correct. Okay, so I'm sure I should verify that. And the difficulty relating to the variance was self-created due to the applicant's desire to add a larger patio to the front of their house. And be it therefore resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approve the variance as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Carried.
You're all set. So
Thank
I
you.
guess you would talk to the building department for the permit. Is that correct?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
evening.
evening.
Have a good night.
We have one more coming up in person if you want to replace, please. Thank you. Application 2022-006 for Francis DePrimo.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
State your
Good.
name and address for the record, please.
Tracy DePrimo, 687 Pinnacle Road.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add to your application that you didn't already put in?
No,
So it looks like you're gonna be adding, you're looking for the side setback, so that way you can add a garage. Can you explain a little bit about the garage? Is it gonna be single door? How many doors it's gonna
it will
have?
have one door
One door, okay,
and the style of the garage is based on the house itself. So that it will match the house, the siding, everything will match the house.
okay. And how did you come up with the size of the garage?
And my husband's just been dealing with this contractor. He wanted a 2.5 car garage.
Okay, so it's depicted by 2.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you guys thought about moving the garage closer to the house to get less of a side setback?
So apparently the town requires a 10-foot space between the house and the garage. And so in order to go that 10 feet, that's why we encroach on the other side.
Okay. Have you thought about reducing the size of the garage? Because right now you have, was it 28 by 28? To get less of a side setback?
If we need to. We've been there 29 years and have never had a garage, so.
Right. I know the struggle.
I know it's categorized as Forever Wild, but is there any activity in that land to the north there?
Aside from the occasional deer that we see go through,
So just Bambi.
just.
Just Bambi.
So the size of the garage of the 2.5 car garage, is that to incorporate storage needs or
Yes, and.
yard
and,
equipment?
Tools and, lawn things.
So that was the reason for the two and a half
Yes.
car, I should say, the wider side.
The little extra, yeah.
Okay.
Will it be the exact model that you show that was on there? There was a similar,
There is a similar model, and what is different in the one that we chose is there won't be a top window.
okay.
There's only one window on each side.
Mhm.
And the front of the building will have a walk-through door also.
Walk-through door, okay,
Okay.
And we are gonna put a cupola
okay.
if we get it.
All right. Is the garage door going to be centered on the building or is it going to be, because it looks like from the, to explain it here, when you drew where you're going to be placing the garage, it looks like it's offset a little bit from the
It is
driveway.
because of the 10 feet. We
Okay,
go into the driveway, I don't know, about this far. And we're
Okay.
actually gonna come forward and eliminate some of that driveway. So,
Okay.
because in an attempt to move it away from the woods, but that's as far as we can go.
okay. So are you planning to move the driveway at all to center it
Not
up with
this
that?
year, we won't be able to afford it, but
Well,
next year, yeah. we would get
Eventually,
it.
okay.
Yes, we would get a new driveway put in.
Okay, I was just kind of wondering because the way that the photo you provided plus how it was arranged, looked like it was going to be off to the side. It didn't.
Yeah,
look
it's not,
nice.
it's like this much.
Yeah.
Off a little bit.
Okay,
But you know, when I say that 29 years, that house, we're only the fourth owners.
Mhm.
And we take a lot of pride in making sure that that house is treated the way it deserves to be treated.
Is it really over 200 years old?
Yes, it was
Oh.
built in 1800.
Wow.
okay.
So
Yeah.
that's
Um,
why we chose the style of the garage so that it would match with the house, would be appropriate.
Is the house on any sort of historical registry?
It is not.
It is not, okay. Just wondering if it was.
Is that boiler heat that heats that?
I'm sorry?
What kind of heat do you have in there?
We have a boiler.
It is boiler.
Yeah.
Have you looked into perhaps putting the garage on off of Cobblestone Drive?
So I asked my husband that. We have a septic
Mhm.
tank.
Oh, okay.
We're not on septic, we are on sewer, but there's an old septic tank there.
Okay.
so it's-
Yeah.
Just curious where you got that 10 feet from the house.
That's what our contractor told us. That's a Henrietta rule because there won't be a firewall on the garage.
There would be a 5-foot separation before you'd have to, if you were to attach it or get closer than 5 feet, then you would have to put 5/8 drywall for the fire barrier.
Very interesting.
You
So
can
we don't
attach
need
it, I
10
mean,
feet. So that gives us 5 additional feet then.
right.
Okay.
Then we go by state codes on that, state fire codes.
Okay, because he told us every town was different and he thought it was 10 feet.
Everybody has to go by state codes. Every town can make it more restrictive, but not less.
Okay.
So state, we go follow state, which is 5 feet. And closer to that, then you got a 5/8 drywall.
That's very good to know. Thank you.
So you could move it further back over to center it on your existing driveway.
Yes.
And that would probably save you some money if you wanted to, if you still planned on doing anything with that driveway, but that might save you some money instead of having to redo it,
Whole driveway.
the whole driveway, you can just do whatever. And so, so it's possible you may be able to, I don't know what you would be able to
There
do.
would still, no matter what, there'd still be a variance needed if she did move it over 5 feet.
Right, the variance is required regardless. It's just that we have a little more wiggle room to work with perhaps now than we thought
Yeah.
originally.
So yeah, it'd be 6.5 feet versus the 8, which is required by code, town code.
But what do we do with the application as written? Do we make it a condition or do we approve as is and then it's her discretion how close she makes it up to the 5 feet to the house?
Well, we're only, we'd be doing the 1.5 or 6.5, so that'd be a condition. Right. Would you be okay doing, looking for a 6.5 foot variance? So that you'd be bringing it over to the house 5 more feet?
As far as I know, that should be fine.
Mhm.
I think that the contractor was just in error with that, the distance from the house.
So by moving it 5 feet closer to your house, one, you can use more of your driveway without having to put as much onto the side. So you would be okay with moving it 5 feet closer to the home, knowing that as long as there's at least 5 foot distance between the home and the side of the garage,
And that, then we're within,
within code of
yes.
what is needed. Is that
Yeah,
doable for
I don't
yourself?
think, I don't recall him saying it was their thing. I recall him saying it was the town's, that it
Right.
had to be 10 feet, because there's no firewall.
Right.
But we don't have access to our basement at all from the house. You have to go outside anyway,
So
so,
that would still give you room?
yes, it should, yeah.
Okay.
Where is the access to your basement?
There are, if you look at the pictures, there's 2 side doors on that
Oh, I
level.
see it.
Yeah.
You don't
There's one on that main part of the house, Heather.
Yeah, there's,
They're both red doors, right?
They are red doors, yes.
what do you store in your basement?
He has tools, and we used to have camping stuff in the back basement, and a lot of my boys' stuff that they've moved out since then.
Okay.
So he's got a train set down there.
But how would we write that? That we would approve as written, but make a correction in the conditions? Yeah, that's okay.
Right, you wouldn't, yeah, you would change the variance amount.
So
Do you-
instead of saying
Do you know,
request
do
1.5, it would be 6.5.
you happen to know, I mean, I'm looking at the map here and it doesn't quite say it, but from the edge of your driveway to your property line, do you know how much space is there as it is right now between, if I don't see a,
Sorry.
it's okay, it's okay. It's-
He does have a map. Oh. So there's 35 feet, 6 inches between what would be the side of the garage to the woods itself. That's all wooded area in there.
Mhm.
And there's a drainage ditch for the town that runs through there.
Yeah, like a culvert, I think we heard. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
I'm just trying to see what, well, because it looks like the shed you want to, not the shed, the garage you want to put in is 28 by 28 is what you're proposing?
28 feet, yeah, wide.
Okay, so
24 deep.
24 deep, I'm sorry, okay. So 28 plus the 10 to 38. So it's 39 and a half feet from the northern wall of your house to your property line. I'm just trying to figure out. I don't know, I'm sorry, I was just trying to figure out exactly what we could work with. It's just, I know it's just without going to measure it, but
So it would only encroach over 1.5 feet from the current setback.
yeah, that's correct. We don't, we only encroach, right, but I'm just concerned if we only, okay, a 6.5 foot setback, that the garage would then be moved too far in the other direction and not lined up with the driveway.
No, it would still be because you take, the way it's presented to us, it would be slightly off the driveway.
Mhm,
They wouldn't be able to add the remaining part of the driveway until the following year.
mhm.
Okay,
By moving it closer to the home, you're moving it within line of the driveway.
right,
So there would be only a small section that it would be just over the driveway they
Mhm.
currently have.
well, I thought we'd be moving it too far in the other direction. That's why I
Correct.
thought. So
Right.
it's still, I don't know, that would.
So it lines up better closer to the home.
Right.
Right.
They would have to pave less after they built it, if they ever redid the driveway.
I suppose so. I mean, I'm just trying to see what they,
Well, if
it's,
it's a 20-foot.
just try to make sure it's as painless as possible for you.
I think he has every intention of redoing the whole driveway. 'cause
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
coming apart, you
As it
know.
looks
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
it looks like the one side's lining up with the side of the driveway closest to the house. The 20-foot,
Does that answer your question?
28-foot wide garage plus 1.5 feet. That's 29 and a half feet, which gives us 9.5 feet larger.
Right.
So 4.5. 4 3/4
Foot and a
feet.
half.
And in the
Would center
schematic
it.
he sent, where he says the lawn that we maintain, that is, the town, when they come to mow, they only mow in front of the culvert.
Mhm.
And we've mowed that whole side since we moved in,
Okay,
so. We don't have to worry about them bringing equipment in there, because they don't.
So yeah,
I like their lawn
5
mowers.
feet.
Mhm. Right.
I'd almost center it 5 feet. 'Cause I got
And if
4
anybody-
3/4 to center it.
Ever did want to connect the garage to the house at some
By
point,
the-
by
these
closer to
drawings
the
here.
house would be advantageous.
Right, I was trying to look to see.
Right.
So moving it 5 feet back, so having a 6.5 foot variance would pretty much put you where you need to be anyway. Is that correct? Or is it?
That's according to the way the math works out and how they're lining this side of the garage as closest to the house with the driveway side. On the
Right.
survey, so they got this all lined right up.
Well, yeah,
So, I mean, that's if that's part's accurate.
Had your husband considered attaching it, doing an attachment to the house for that, or?
The only reason we didn't consider it is because, as I said, we don't access the basement at all
Right.
from the house proper. You have to go outside. and go
Okay.
in the- So it didn't make sense to attach it to the house if we had no way to get in. And there, our foundation is cobblestone.
Right.
So it would, we don't want to mess with.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
Right.
It's been there for how
Yeah.
long? Yeah, you don't
That'd
mess
be
with
an
that.
undertaking
Yeah.
to
yeah, it would.
get into that.
All right. Are there any further questions? Anyone on the audience wants to speak on it? Online, Heather, are there any questions?
I do have one comment from Millie, one of our town board members. She's actually an adjacent neighbor nearby, and she just says that as a neighbor, they've always maintained a beautiful home, and she has no issues with this garage in their neighborhood.
Perfect,
really
thank you.
nice.
I can also second that. I live on Cape Cod Way, so I drive by your house a lot.
Oh,
And
okay.
it always looks very well kept.
Well, we don't consider ourselves owners, we consider ourselves caretakers,
Mhm.
you know, because it's, to us, it's just a beautiful
Mhm.
property. My
Mhm.
husband wanted to move to Tennessee and I'm like, I'm not leaving my house.
Like, take it out, take it with me.
Well, and that's actually, that's how we can afford a garage, because we had money set aside to move. Didn't have it.
All right, being no further questions, this application is closed.
Madam Vice Chair, with regard to application number ZBA 2022-006 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has duly advertised and held a public hearing, has considered all relevant information, and has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties, as other homes in the area have garages. Adding a garage will actually be more in line with the current town code. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative due to the limited size of the lot, and there is no other locations for the proposed garage. The variance requested is substantial, but the benefits outweigh the negatives. The variance will not be a negative effect on physical or environmental conditions. Adding a garage will improve the curb appeal to the home. The difficulty relating to the variance was self-created, as the applicant is requesting a variance for a side setback for the garage. And be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approve the variance as presented. And be it further resolved that the appeal or the approval shall be subject to the following conditions. The approved variance is for a 6.5 side setback.
All those in favor?
Well,
Aye.
I'll second
Oh,
it.
sorry, Chris, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Okay, we have application 2022-007 for Juicy Seafood Super Crab. This indicates a Bradley Fogel with Blackburn Design. Are they online, Heather? Says in person.
He told me he was gonna be online.
Yeah, Kong was supposed to come in person and Brady was supposed to be online. And I thought I did see Brady a little bit ago online, but I don't see him right now. Let me check.
There was someone else here at one point and then they left. I don't know if, I don't know if that was,
Oh, gotcha. And I've never met them in person, so I don't know what they look like. Maybe we skip them and come back here in a little bit. I'll
Okay.
try emailing Brady in the meantime.
Perfect. All right, let's skip that and go to 2022-010 Coles. Is there anyone online for that?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Jamie Bracy. I'm with Cassis Superior Signs. I'll be representing Kohl's and Sephora.
Perfect. Can you, you're looking for a second wall sign. Do they need to say their name?
It was-
Correct.
Okay.
And you said your name was Jamie Brady?
Jamie Bracy
Bracy.
with a C. Yep.
And you're
Sorry
with,
for Cassis Superior Signs.
perfect, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So you're looking for a second wall sign. Can you explain kind of what the application you're looking for and what you're looking to do?
Sure. Yeah, what Kohl's is doing and in conjunction with Sephora is they're bringing Sephora on as like their primary health and beauty. They're creating an actual entrance feel for the Sephora as well, so that people realize that there is basically a full-fledged Sephora in Kohl's. And in fact, even with any of their new builds, they're not just going to be Kohl's, they're going to be Kohl's and Sephora's.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, that's what they're looking to do.
Okay. And they're looking to put the Sephora sign over, because Kohl's has two entrances where they have already painted it now. is that-
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Yep. And that's the entrance that would be close to the Sephora department.
I have no further questions.
So we had talked about this in the findings of fact, but just to clarify, so the existing pole sign is to be replaced with a new sign, the exact same dimensions.
Correct.
As E2 here, which is just simply Kohl's plus Sephora.
Correct. Yep. It's the multi-tenant sign. They're just replacing their panels.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the board? Anyone in the audience wish to speak? Any questions online, Ms. Heather?
I have nothing.
This application is closed. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Mrs. Vice Chair, with regard to application number ZBA 2022-010 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has duly advertised and held the public hearing, has considered all relevant information, and has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to near neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. The wall sign is in line with other stores in the area. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative, as the applicant needs to identify a new business within an existing store. The variance requested is not substantial, as other businesses have additional signs. The variance will not have a negative effect on physical or environmental conditions. The difficulty relating to the variance was self-created, as the applicant is in need of a second wall sign to identify a business, and be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approve the variance as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Enjoy.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Good
You
evening.
guys, you guys put on a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, application 2022-011, Joyce Chambry.
Yes,
Hi, may you state your name and address, please?
Joyce Shambry, 90 Viscount Drive.
Thank you, Ms. Chambry. Do you have anything to add to the application that you presented?
Pardon?
Do you have anything to add to the application that you presented?
No,
Can you, you're looking for, you're putting in a 200 square foot shed. Can you add a little bit about the needs for the additional size shed? What are you going to be putting inside of it?
I need it for storage. I need to put my lawnmower and my lawn equipment in there, and anything that will be normally going into the cellar will be going into the shed because I'm starting to have trouble going up and down the stairs.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Now, are you looking to bring any electricity out to the shed?
There's already some hooked up inside the shed when I got it, but I will be bringing an extension cord from the garage to the shed if I need it.
Okay. No further questions.
Any other questions from members of the board?
No. Nope.
Don't think there's anyone in-house that has any questions in the audience. Anybody online, Ms. Heather?
Nope, still nothing.
Thank you. With that, this application is closed.
Madam Chairman, with regard to application number ZBA 2022-011 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has duly advised and held a public hearing, has collected all relevant information, has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, it be resolved, the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. Nearby properties have sheds that are located similar to the proposed and in size. The property has an existing shed in the location of the proposed. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative. The desired variance cannot be achieved by other means without the owner storing property off-site. While the variance is substantial and requesting an additional 50 square feet of this for the shed, it is similar in size to others in the neighborhood. The variance will not have a negative effect on physical or environmental conditions. The proposed shed will not have an environmental or physical impact that is foreseen at this time. Existing stormwater sheet flows patterns will remain mostly intact with the relationship to the existing shed. The difficulty to the variance was self-created. The owner has acquired the need for additional storage space. And that's it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, application 2022-012, Old Dominion Freight Line.
Yes, this is Dean Apostolaris. I'm here online. Are you able to hear me?
We are.
Yep.
And Dean, you're with?
I am with Kimley Horn and Associates. We are the engineers for this project.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add to the application?
At this time, I do not.
Okay, so the proposal is to add 3 feet width to the entrance.
That is correct. Yep. As it currently exists, one of the driveways, the easternmost driveway, which will be used for truck entrance and exiting to the facility, currently exists at slightly over 42 feet at the throat of the driveway. I just wanted to make that clarification. We're not changing the curb cuts or any dimension of where the driveway meets the public right-of-way or the public road edge of pavement. This is just for the throat of the driveway. But again, it exists as 42 feet and we are proposing to increase that to 45 feet The reason for that is to allow for a curbed median in the middle of that driveway, which houses a RFID reader to allow for trucks to automatically enter and exit the facility via gate operation.
Oh, okay. Okay. Are there any other questions from the members of the board for this application?
My only question, as Vice Chair, is this gonna give you guys enough room for the width of the driveway for turning radiuses of trucks and et cetera?
Yeah, we have run a few different truck turning radii against this driveway, and it works out. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Are there any online, Heather?
Still nothing.
All right. With regard to application ZBA 2022-012 for an area variance, I move to approve, whereas the zoning board of appeals has duly advertised and held a public hearing. 2, has considered all relevant information, and 3, has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the zoning board of appeals make the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. The larger driveway entrance is an industrial area and normal, and increase is 3 feet. The variance cannot be achieved by some other means feasible. The additional the space needed for the RFID reader to pick up the signal is needed. The variance is not substantial as the increase is a 3-foot wider entrance. The variance will not have a negative effect to the physical or environmental conditions. The difficulty related to variance was self-created, and be it further resolved that based above the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approve the variance as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, Heather. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, do we have a representative for the application 2022-007, 008, 009 for Juicy Seafood Super Creme?
I still don't have anybody online. I did email him. I'm not quite sure what's going on. He hasn't responded.
Be it that there is no one that's responding. And there's no one here. We will proceed with, do I have a,
I could call him if it's worth the time.
well, one of them was gonna zoom in and one was gonna be here, so have we called anyone before? I don't think so. They had enough notice to be here?
Yeah, and we talked this morning. He told me that he would zoom in.
I've spoken to him many times as well.
All right. Do we have a motion to close the meeting?
Can I get a motion to table those applications, Beth?
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry about that.
Ms. Vice Chair, I move to table the applications 2022-007, 008, and 009.
Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Make a
Okay.
motion to close the meeting.
That in.
No, you can close the meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna close the meeting now.
Okay.
He's adjourned at
Meeting adjourned at 7:41. Everyone.
Good work, guys.
Thank you.
You need to rub it in Bob's face that we got done before 8.
More applications than we had the last time.
Even though I messed up. on
It'd be
the-
funny if Bob just came in at the last second. I'm here. Oh, it's over already.
Well, I hope